Welcome everyone, I'm Eszter Kovács, co-founder of DroneTalks, and I'm here at Amsterdam Drone Week 2024 with Thomas Dassler, who is the director for the Middle East and Asia at Fotokite, representing sales, So I'm really curious to learn more about profitability and the sales trends. Welcome in the show.
Thank you for having me.
So if someone doesn't know Fotokite, but I'm sure everyone knows because we had a recording with Chris 4 or 5 years ago, so watch it back if you haven't done yet, what Fotokite does.
Sure. Yeah, so we're a Zurich-based company. We design and manufacture tethered or actively tethered UAVs. So by actively tethered, we describe it as a system that is constantly tethered, but it flies autonomously. It flies only vertical, but basically we've taken out all the complications of a typical drone as you know it. You don't have a joystick, you fly it all by touchscreen, and it constantly hovers over the ground station. And we've designed this system specifically for public safety, first responder teams, so fire departments, police departments, security events, stuff like that. And it allows them to basically use and deploy a UAV without the complications and very quickly. So they can get to the scene, they press a button, our drone, or a kite as we call it, goes into the air, and then you get both thermal and normal regular imaging down the tether to the tablet.
So how far the drone can fly up?
45 meters is the max height.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And why is it better to have a rope than not to have a rope?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I wouldn't say it's better or worse, right? It's kind of a different use case. So we consider ourselves absolutely within the drone space, but there's free-flying drones and they have their purposes and they have their benefits. There's tethered drones like ours that have their benefits as well. For us, thanks to the tether, we can stay in the air for hours. So we've flown it once for numerous days at a time, instead of having to land after 30 minutes, change the batteries. So for a fire department, they're able to have eyes in the sky on that roof fire for the whole 8 hours, right? And that adds a lot of value for them to be able to have that imaging from above and not having to land after a few minutes.
So if I want to compare the last 4 or 5 years, for those use cases, these first responders, firefighters, they really started to use drones. Because I remember back in the time, Axon, was the big user and we announced it. But now it's like business as usual. What would you say?
Yeah, I think what happened is we had a lot of adoption and there's a lot of word of mouth. So you have a fire department or a police department that is happy with our system and that spreads within their communities. So we've had more customers purchase our systems. We're much more well known. Since 2020, we entered the European market during COVID, so it was a difficult time to really spread the word. And we're much more present at trade shows. So we have good customer base, a lot of brand awareness, and that's why we're also expanding now to new regions such as Asia and Middle East.
So Asia, I know very little about the Asian drone market, I should admit. I'm pretty up to date in the European and the US one. So what's going on in Asia? How drone adoption drives in Asia generally? And what do you see now entering to the Asia markets?
Yeah, so we had a lot of interest for years, but we were growing very sustainably. So now last year, we started speaking to potential partners, specifically in Japan and South Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam, Thailand. And we basically shared all the information we have, and they went out to the market to their first responder customer base and got a lot of feedback. And there was a lot of positive feedback. So that's where we learned, hey, there's potential in this market. Let's enter. And now we've signed a lot of partners, very good, strong partners in these markets, and have been doing demos. I went to Japan last summer, had demos with local fire departments, police departments, and they love the simplicity of our system. And not just our system, of course, but drones in general are having a major impact there. Although there is local manufacturers as well, but I think they would like to know what else there is coming from the US, from Europe, and so on.
So, as a Swiss company based in Zurich, how can you enter into Asia market? How does it work really practically? You know, when I want to enter to the Asia market?
It's not simple, right? You need to have a local entity, you need to have a local partner. You have to do a lot of paperwork, register the system, make sure it's locally acceptable, and then also for import export, you need that support as well. So there's a lot of checks you need to do, and it takes some time, right? So we've started all last year. We hope this year that we can actually start selling to customers now that we have had all the paperwork done.
And how does this work? You selling directly to the fire department, or there is like a dealer, or there is how does this work practically?
So we work with distributors basically. So we look for very proactive, strong distributors who demo the system, they show it to the customer, and they then sell it on to their customer base.
To the customer base,
It's good for local support. For us, it's better to have like a local arm there. They have their customer base, they know their contacts, and for any kind of issues or questions they have, it's good to have local people there.
And you are 4 years now with Fotokite. You
Yes.
just mentioned me before during the chit chat. And what do you think? How this changed during the 4 years? So it's like, do we sell more drones? It's obvious, yes.
Yes.
But like the whole industry became, because sometimes you are in these conferences and you listen to panels, but all of them, every time you go and you feel like, oh no, we're still talking about this, or we're still talking about that regulation. I know Fotokite, you don't have that regulatory barrier
we do
much
still,
like BV laws or others, but
Yeah.
still. So do you think we are really like, you see the bigger picture of progression?
Yes.
Or how do you feel like, I feel sometimes we are stuck, but a lot of people are so positive. So I think I want to listen to you.
I mean, this show alone for me, these days that I've spent here, showed me how valuable it is.
Yes.
Like, I've spoken to many regulators,
Yes.
civil aviation authorities, and it's incredible like how much they want to learn about what drone technology is out there. And there's one comment in particular that I heard last night was, the regulators, everybody sees them as the ones like slowing things down, but really it's like they're trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
They're trying to learn as much from us as they can, because then they know what kind of technology is coming in the next year, so they can adapt the regulation to that. So it's very forward thinking, I think.
Yeah. And you are a Swiss company, you work for a Swiss company. I'm working for a Swiss company. We're both, based in Switzerland. And we always have this topic because I'm active part of the ecosystem in Switzerland, and I am trying to, understand how we all collaborate for a better and bigger success. So you from the Bahamas, right? We just had this chit-chat as well, which is amazing. I never been, however, I have a Starbucks mug saying Bahamas.
Oh, nice.
I was very surprised there is a Starbucks in the Bahamas.
There is. We do.
Yes.
More than one.
I'm drinking every morning from
Nice.
it. That's a
I have one as well,
Yeah, with the blue and with the stars on it. But why you relocated to Switzerland personally? And the second, why do you think the fact Fotokite is a Swiss company helps you with the sales, this quality? And do you think this is really a thing? So maybe first personal story, and maybe the second about...
No, I mean, I moved to Switzerland. I love the country. I visited in 2008. And then I fell in love with it. So I wanted to look for opportunities here.
So you explicitly were looking for Swiss opportunities.
Yeah, and then I studied here, studied in Switzerland, and I stayed. I didn't know I was going to stay there this long, but I've been there for I think 12 years now.
So you can be Swiss soon?
I could, for sure.
You could,
So it definitely is it's a great place, right? To live. It's very accessible. You have everything you need, and I find the international base is also quite large, not just with companies, but also people. So it's like a melting pot.
Expat community.
Yeah, for sure.
In Zurich,
And for us, the Swissness of Fotokite, it definitely adds value, right? I mean, Switzerland is known for quality. It's one of the reasons we actually brought our manufacturing back into Switzerland. We manufacture.
Yeah, because you outmoved and you back fully
Yeah,
the
now we're
manufacturing,
manufacturing
in Switzerland.
in
So you can say it's
Switzerland.
Swiss quality
Yeah,
product.
in Zurich even. There's just down
In
there,
Zurich,
Zurich
made in
Lake.
Zurich.
Yeah. So it's definitely helped a lot. It helps our quality. It's a highly technical system. So people trust that. They blindly trust it, but there's a reason they blindly trust it,
Yeah.
because there's a good track record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, anything else what you want to share with an audience? Any advice to the government or to the drone industry or anyone who are watching as a final closure, or maybe any takeaways from the conference? And you mentioned this regulatory aspect. Or anything else you want to give us a goodbye note?
Yeah. I have to stand up for our customer base,
Yes.
right? Which is public safety teams.
Yes.
We're designing systems and we sell them, but our mission is to help first responders. And sometimes regulations make it difficult for first responders to really use our systems that can help them save lives, protect property, and help them do their jobs better. So I hope for more open communication and talks with regulators, and perhaps that first responders have an easier time deploying drones for their missions.
100%. Thank you so much for the discussion.
Thank you.
It was lovely. Please do follow us. Please do give us a like.
Will
And
do.
thank you again for being a
We'll
guest
see
on
you
the
around.
show.
See you in the Bahamas.
See you. Yes, next stage is Bahamas. Next stop, Bahamas.